It's Tuesday the 19th of May and this is our third day trip in the van since the lockdown ended in the UK. We're climbing Box Hill in Surrey, and this particular section of road was used in the Tour de France, the first time it ever came to England. As you can see, it's still a popular hill climb for cyclists. We were quite surprised to see that there was plenty of space free in the car parks, and everyone was gingerly trying to get a ticket out of the machine without touching anything.
I just wanna lie in the sun.
So we're not very good at this day out thing because we've managed to come to Box Hill without any money or our National Trust parking card. Notwithstanding that, we stuck last year's card in the window and went for a brief walk around Box Hill to have a look at the view.
My friends are sitting laughing, but I just keep on laughing. They're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun.
We sat for a while in the sun, but then decided to move on, just in case we got clamped or a ticket.
Lie in the sun. Yeah.
We're now going to move across to another favourite place of ours in the Ashdown Forest. I set about building the table and chairs while Carol made the lunch. Corned beef and pickle sandwiches with freshly made bread. I tried keeping the heat of the sun out with these simple window blinds, but in the end I had to put in our insulated blind instead. That's better. Now it's keeping the heat out. Let's see you. Carol's the sun bunny, but I prefer to eat my sandwich sitting in the shade. It's a good day to try out our tarp, which we've adapted to fit the awning rail of the van to give us some simple shade. The Ashdown Forest is famous as the location for the Winnie the Pooh stories. Okay, lady. This is just a simple Catcher tarp that we bought from Amazon, and Carol adapted it by sewing the awning rail onto one edge of the tarp. So all we have to do is pull it through and then use a couple of poles and peg it out. This simple tarp allows us to obey my principal rule of always travelling ultra light in the camper. So I think we need to pack another pole.
Have you got another pole?
One for the yeah, I've got two tarps, so I've got two more poles if I want them.
How do you attach one to the middle?
You don't. You just get a bowl or something, and put the pole so it rests inside the bowl, so it doesn't hurt the
And
tarp.
how does the pole stay up?
Just stands up with pressure. You bear in mind this is like pulling down, and you'd go up, and so it's held, you know, under pressure.
done it before. We used to do it in the
Yeah, and you've got these two side ones as
yeah,
well if you want
for
extra.
more, yeah.
That'll do it then.
It's a close-up of the channel that we sewed onto the tarp. We got this off the internet as well, off Amazon I think it was.
Well, this little awning is working well. Certainly keeps the sun off, and it's incredibly lightweight, quick to put up and just as quick to pack away at the end of the day. Certainly wouldn't leave it up if we were to leave the van, because it could only withstand moderate winds, nothing strong.
It was a nice little spot here. Most people just left their vehicles and went off for a walk.
As we get further and further into the summer, we're beginning to experience more and more heat in the van. And today it's pretty hot. It was over 20 degrees just earlier on. And you get a tremendous amount of heat coming through the black glass, and that huge expanse of the windscreen really floods in there. So I would suggest that if you're going to have one of these vans, you absolutely must pay some attention to getting some sort of sun shields. The internal blackout curtains that come with the van are fine for blacking things out, but they just don't keep any heat out. We've just been checked out by the forest ranger. Loads of flies about today. We had the alarm go off again on the drive day before yesterday, and that was caused by a fly that got trapped inside. So a good dose of fly spray took care of that. But we're clearly going to have to be careful as summer comes. There's more and more chance of getting flies trapped in the van. And if you obviously were to leave it in town and go for a walk around the town, you wouldn't want your alarm going off all the time. As you can see, we put a floor mat down now, and that's because we decided for day trips only that we were going to use the porta potty loo. Because it's so easy to empty it when we get home every day if we want to, and it's much easier to use. But I couldn't actually get this in and out with that flooring on, so if you want to use the loo, don't put that flooring down that we did earlier on. I certainly won't be taking that on major trips. We're still going to use the bivvy loo because you'd rather have that cupboard for something else.
Doesn't it? I haven't seen a plane in the sky.
No. Yeah, because here you would always see planes, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
None at all.
Just realised I haven't seen a plane for weeks.
No. So let's drop this tarp.
Do you need my help?
I'm just going to take out a section.
By dropping the tarp lower, you can either get more shade or shelter more from the wind if necessary. There's still plenty of headroom underneath. It's 6 p.m. now, so it's time to cook the evening meal. And tonight's going to be chicken stir-fried with spices and served with Mexican rice in wraps. These packets of instant rice are so easy and useful in the van. Right, this is all ready, and it's time for Carol to do her masterful trick of rolling them up.
Good? They're nice, aren't they?
that's the end of another lovely day out. We met lots of people today and they all showed interest in the van. But now it's time to pack it all away and get back home.